Hey, it's Hop Day. Hop Day.
Hop Day.
Number 2, we're going to talk about what do hops do. And I'm here once again with my buddy Sam from Middletown Fine Wine and Spirits. How you doing today, Sam?
Hey, how we doing?
Awesome. So, I guess we'll just go right into it. I asked the question, what do hops do? We talked about how they're utilized.
Right.
Hops, like we said, add bitterness,
And
flavor, and aroma.
And as an antiseptic to keep the beer longer.
Correct.
Right.
How do we know how much hops to add when we brew?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
And when we look at hops, we see the name of the hop on the label.
Right.
What else have you noticed on the label?
So yeah, that's the one I asked you about. Alpha and beta percentages and what all that is about. And you told us, hey, that's a good topic for our next video. So
exactly.
Here we are.
So alpha acids are commonly on the label of every hop that you're going to buy.
Okay.
The alpha acid is the amount of weight per hop that is composed of the alpha acids.
Okay.
That's what makes up the bitterness of the beer.
There you go. That's the answer I'm looking for. Okay.
So then the other part of that is beta acids. Beta acids are the oils that comprise the shelf life of the hop itself.
Right. Okay.
So the ratio of alpha to beta acids in the noble hops is very, very close to 1-to-1.
Right.
The new American craft brewers, the bigger beers, they prefer more of a 2-to-1 alpha to beta ratio. That produces a more consistent bitterness over time. So what can we do with the alpha acid? The alpha acid of every hops is listed. This is our Cascade pellets that we actually have currently in the fridge. 6.4% alpha, 5.9% beta. With that percentage, we can calculate an alpha acid unit, which is the measure of hops used typically in a 5-gallon batch. Your alpha acid unit is the alpha percentage times the weight of the hop. So if we have a recipe with an obsolete hop, let's say we need 1.5 ounces of the obsolete hop at 4% alpha. The alpha acid unit is 4.8, the percentage of the hop, times the weight used, 1.5, to give us 7.2% alpha acid units. With that alpha acid unit number, we can calculate the usage and the amount of any hop that we have. So say we want to bitter with the Cascade that we have in the fridge. The 7.2 alpha acid units, and we know that our Cascade is 6.4% alpha acids. So the weight then, solving for the weight of the alpha acid unit formula, we take 7.2 alpha acid units, divide it by 6.4 percentage, and that gives us, we need 1.125 or 1 1/8 ounces of Cascade to get the same bittering quantity from the recipe that we had with an obsolete hop on it. Guys, that's the quickest and simplest way to figure out from recipes with either obsolete hops on it or when your alpha acids change from year to year to figure out how much hops you need for the batch. So that's kind of the meat and potatoes. We got a really great book here in the store called Designing Great Beers by Ray Daniels, and then he also explains an IBU to gravity ratio. IBU is International Bittering Unit. That measures the level of bitterness. And so when we talk about balanced, you take the last 2 digits of gravity and the IBU number, divide that by the last 2 digits of gravity, and that gives you another ratio. And Ray calls that the bitter to gravity ratio. And there's a really good table in the book that defines that ratio per style. To put some numbers with that, your typical wheat beers like your Hefeweizen, that ratio comes out about 0.2. Your IPAs are 1.1. Wow. So a little bit higher in the bitterness ratio than the gravity. Right. Now, interesting thing that I came across is stouts are actually, the ratio in that is 1.2. They might use more hops, but they use them later to get that flavor and aroma, but not much bitterness.
Right.
And stouts are typically what we call bigger. They're higher in gravity than IPAs, so there's a lot more malt. So they can use a lot more, they need to use a lot more bitterness to balance that extra malt, and so the ratio actually gets higher. You just don't taste it. I took some malt extract that we have here at the store. This is basically, not basically, this is an unhopped wort. So it's just the malt and water, no hops. So this is the gravity component of that bitter to gravity ratio.
So you just stirred it, and even from this far away, I can smell the sweetness coming out of it.
Absolutely.
Okay? So I'm assuming you want me to drink this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here.
It smells like sugar water.
And it's because that's what it is. So the barley's been converted to sugar, and I dissolve that in water. And so this is essentially, this is a malt.
This is syrup.
This is, yeah.
This is almost can be pancake syrup too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what would you think if I served this to you, like if I carbonated this and served this to you?
This is a really good drink to have for summer.
You think so?
I'm thinking.
Even with all that sweetness in it? How much of that could you drink?
Probably not a lot.
Well, that's not what you were, okay, right, exactly. Yeah. Not a lot,
yeah,
because it's too sweet.
Well, it is too sweet, but I'm thinking if you add some carbonation to it, but still.
A little bit.
This much.
You still have that sweetness.
And it's still on my tongue.
And it's still on your tongue.
Yep.
So finish that, either pour it back in or...
Yeah, I don't think I can even finish this, otherwise I will get sick. It's too sweet. It is really sweet.
So then the other thing that we did in the French press here, we steeped some Northern Brewer hops.
Okay.
And so this is a hop tea.
Right. So this should be very bitter.
Now, when you smell it...
No, it's actually very fruity smell. Too.
Okay, well that's the Northern Brewer.
Yeah.
And now taste it. Oh, that is.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
So that's the alpha acids coming through.
Yeah, you did not warn me about that one.
I wasn't trying to. I didn't mean to.
And you gonna take another sip? Oh, I gotta take one.
So.
Oh.
So. That's just bitter.
Oh.
Not a very palatable beverage, is it? Now the theory says that if we mix the two...
Yes. That might be palatable.
So we've got this oversweet beverage, and we've got this overbitter beverage, and when we mix the two, now what's in here is water, malt, and hops.
Right.
I haven't fermented it. We just made the teas, so there's no alcohol in this, so you're safe to drive back to the store when we're done.
Right.
But the theory, this should be beer.
Yeah. All right, guys. Cheers. Actually, this is drinkable.
It's highly, yeah.
This is very good. Market this.
I did, and so do you. You sell it as beer in your store.
True.
And I teach people how to brew this at home. And so, yeah.
Oh man, all it requires is a little carbonation, and this should be good.
And so when we take equal parts malt and equal parts hops,
right,
sweet, bitter, equals palatable.
Equals very palatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why.
So for all essential purposes, we just brewed a nice beer.
And
can I get a fresh cup from somewhere?
Yeah.
All right. In fact, hold on. Right here. All right. So I'm gonna brew some beer.
Okay.
My first batch of beer.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh man, I brew good beer.
All right, thanks for watching. Hope you learned a thing or two about hops, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely, have fun.
Thanks for tuning in. Remember, life's too short to drink diet beer.